Let me ask you something real. How many times have you let one small moment steal your entire day? One comment, one look, one mistake, one delay, one person who didn't do what you expected. And suddenly your energy drops, your focus fades, and your peace walks right out the door. Not because the moment was powerful, but because you handed it power. You see, life isn't heavy. We make it heavy. Life isn't loud. We turn up the noise. Life isn't cruel every day, but we allow small irritations to become emotional earthquakes. And here's the truth most people don't want to face. The world didn't ruin your peace. You gave it away. Peace is not something you find. It's something you protect. And protection requires discipline. It requires maturity. It requires you to pause instead of explode, to breathe instead of react, to observe instead of absorb. Because not everything deserves your energy. Not every comment needs a response. Not every delay needs frustration. Not every inconvenience needs your emotional investment. The strongest people in the room are not the loudest. They're the calmest. They're the ones who can stand in chaos and still keep their center. They don't let traffic change their attitude. They don't let opinions rewrite their identity. They don't let temporary problems distract them from permanent purpose. You got places to go. You've got things to build. You've got a future that needs your full attention. So why are you giving your mind away to things that won't matter in 5 days, 5 weeks, 5 years? Your peace is your power. And when you stop letting small things control your emotions, you start controlling your destiny. Most people think strength is about dominance, winning arguments, proving you're right, or never letting anyone disrespect you. But real strength is quieter than that. Real strength is choosing peace over pride. It's choosing calm over chaos. It's choosing control over ego. Your pride wants to react. Your ego wants to respond. Your emotions want to fire back. But your future needs you to stay focused, not triggered. Every time you argue just to feel powerful, you actually give your power away. Every time you let your ego take the wheel, your peace gets pushed into the back seat. And here's the truth. Nothing outside of you is worth more than the stability inside of you. Not a comment, not an insult, not a delay, not a misunderstanding, not even a betrayal. Because when you lose your peace, you lose your clarity. And when you lose your clarity, you start making emotional decisions instead of strategic ones. Your peace is your foundation. It's what keeps your mind sharp, your energy clean, and your purpose intact. When you're peaceful, you can think clearly. You can respond wisely. You can move with intention. But when you're constantly offended, constantly reactive, constantly trying to protect your ego, you end up living in survival mode instead of growth mode. Pride wants you to prove something to people who aren't building your future. Ego wants you to fight battles that don't move you forward. But peace says, is this worth my time? Is this worth my energy? Is this worth my destiny? And most of the time, the answer is no. You don't need to win every conversation. You don't need to explain yourself to everyone. You don't need to react to every slight. Maturity is understanding that silence is sometimes the loudest statement. Walking away is sometimes the strongest move. And protecting your peace is not weakness, it's wisdom. When you choose peace over pride, you stop letting other people control your emotions. You stop handing your power to situations that don't deserve it. You start acting from purpose instead of pressure. You move differently. You think differently. You live differently. The world will always give you reasons to react. People will always test you. Life will always throw distractions in your path. But the question is, will you let them steal your focus, your joy, your clarity, your direction? Or will you decide that your peace is more valuable than being right, more valuable than being loud, more valuable than being seen? As tough, most people don't realize this. But small things don't actually have power on their own. They only become powerful when you decide they are. A late reply, a bad tone, a mistake, a look, a delay. These things are neutral until your mind gives them meaning. And the moment you attach meaning, emotion follows. That's how tiny moments turn into heavy moods. Not because the moment was big, but because you made it big in your head. Your mind is like a microphone. Whatever you speak into it gets amplified. If you tell yourself, they disrespected me, your emotions get louder. If you tell yourself, "This always happens to me," your frustration gets louder. If you tell yourself, "This ruined everything," your stress gets louder. But if you change the message, you change the volume. You stop the noise before it takes over your whole day. Most people don't suffer because of what happens. They suffer because of what they keep replaying. The mind loops. It repeats. It exaggerates. It builds stories out of moments. And suddenly one small inconvenience becomes an entire emotional movie that runs in your head all day. You're not reacting to reality anymore. You're reacting to the version of it you created in your mind. Power is not in controlling the world. Power is in controlling your interpretation of it. Two people can experience the same situation. One loses their peace. The other keeps their calm. The difference is not the event. The difference is the meaning they assign to it. When you stop giving small things permission to control your mood, you start taking ownership of your emotional space. You stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and start asking, "How am I choosing to respond to this?" That shift changes everything. Because now you're not a victim of circumstances. You're the author of your reactions. Every time something minor happens, your mind asks you a question. Is this worth my energy? Most people answer without thinking. They react automatically. But the disciplined mind pauses. The disciplined mind says, "I'm not giving this moment control over my entire day." That pause is power. That pause is maturity. That pause is how you stop small things from becoming big problems. You don't need a perfect life to have peace. You need a disciplined mind. A mind that doesn't dramatize. A mind that doesn't personalize everything. A mind that doesn't turn moments into identity. When you master that, nothing outside of you can hijack what's happening inside of you. Most people think strength is about being fearless, dominant, aggressive, or unbreakable. They think it's about who talks the loudest, who pushes the hardest, who never backs down. But that's not strength. That's noise. Real strength is emotional control. It's the ability to stay steady when everything around you is trying to shake you. It's staying calm when you're provoked, focused when you're pressured, centered when you're challenged. Anyone can react. Anyone can lose their temper. Anyone can explode, argue, insult, or shut down. That takes no discipline. That's impulse. But it takes real power to pause, to breathe, to think, to choose your response instead of letting your emotions choose it for you. Emotional control is not about suppressing what you feel. It's about mastering how you express it. Your emotions are energy, and if you don't direct them, they will misdirect you. Anger will push you into decisions you later regret. Frustration will drain your focus. Fear will shrink your vision. Ego will turn small problems into personal wars. But when you control your emotions, you stay in command of your actions. You stay aligned with your purpose instead of being dragged by your feelings. Strong people don't let every mood decide their movement. They don't let every irritation become an identity. They don't let every obstacle become a story about who they are. They feel what they feel, but they don't let it rule them. They observe it. They manage it. They move through it with awareness. Think about this. The moment you lose emotional control, you give control to whatever triggered you. A person, a comment, a delay, a mistake suddenly has authority over your state of mind. But when you stay calm, you keep your power. You stay in charge of your direction. You stay focused on what actually matters. Emotional control is how you stay dangerous in a positive way. It's how you remain disciplined. It's how you stay sharp. It's how you protect your energy from being wasted on things that don't build your future. Because every emotional reaction either moves you forward or pulls you backward. There is no neutral. You don't rise to the level of your motivation. You fall to the level of your emotional discipline. And the people who win in life aren't the ones who never feel anger, fear, or frustration. They're the ones who don't let those feelings drive the car. Master your emotions, and you master your direction. Control your reactions, and you control your results. Stay calm in the storm, and the storm loses its power over you. Most people don't fail because they lack talent. They fail because they get distracted. Distracted by opinions. Distracted by drama. Distracted by things that don't matter in the long run. Growth doesn't stop because life is hard. Growth stops because focus gets weak. And the moment you let small things take up big space in your mind, your direction starts to blur. Every day, life throws noise at you. Social media, gossip, comparisons, problems, delays, disrespect, setbacks. None of these are new. The difference is what you allow to live rent-free in your head. Because whatever gets your attention gets your energy. And whatever gets your energy starts shaping your future. You can't build something meaningful while constantly reacting to everything around you. Reaction keeps you in survival mode. Direction puts you in creation mode. One keeps you busy. The other keeps you progressing. When you're always emotionally tied up in small stuff, you don't have the mental space to think big, dream big, or move intentionally. Distractions don't always look dangerous. Sometimes they look harmless. A little complaint here, a little scrolling there, a little argument, a little worry, a little comparison. But over time, those little things add up. They steal your clarity. They steal your confidence. They steal your consistency. And consistency is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. Growth begins when you start asking better questions. Not, why did this happen to me? But does this move me forward? Not, how do I prove myself? But how do I improve myself? Not, who's watching me? But what am I building? When you're focused on your direction, you don't have time for distractions. You don't argue with people who aren't on your path. You don't explain yourself to people who aren't part of your purpose. You don't slow down to impress people who aren't investing in your future. Your life doesn't change when everything around you changes. Your life changes when your priorities change. When you decide that your goals matter more than your feelings. That your mission matters more than your mood. That your future matters more than your ego. The people who grow are not the ones with perfect circumstances. They're the ones with focused minds. They know where they're going, so they don't get pulled into every side road. They know what they want, so they don't get distracted by what doesn't serve it. You can't control everything that happens to you, but you can control what you give power over your attention. And the moment you stop letting distractions dictate your direction, you stop drifting and start deliberately designing the life you want to live. Your life moves in the direction your mind is trained to go. Not your circumstances, not your past, not your excuses, your mind. Every habit you keep, every choice you make, every reaction you repeat starts as a thought. And if you don't master that space between your ears, something else will. The world will program you. Fear will program you. Comfort will program you. And before you know it, you're living on autopilot instead of intention. Mastering your mind is not about being perfect. It's about being aware. It's about noticing the patterns that run your life and deciding which ones deserve to stay. It's about catching yourself before you self-sabotage, before you overthink, before you quit, before you shrink your vision because it feels safer to stay small. Your mind is either your greatest ally or your biggest enemy. It can lift you into discipline, clarity, and confidence, or it can trap you in doubt, delay, and distraction. The difference is training. Just like your body needs reps in the gym, your mind needs reps in focus, resilience, and self-control. You train your mind every time you choose consistency over comfort. Every time you get up when you don't feel like it. Every time you stay calm when you're provoked. Every time you move forward instead of making excuses. Those moments don't look heroic, but they build a heroic mindset. When your mind is mastered, your life becomes intentional. You don't drift. You decide. You don't react. You respond. You don't wait for motivation. You move with discipline. And discipline is stronger than motivation because discipline shows up even when the feeling doesn't. Your future isn't built on big moments. It's built on small decisions made daily. The decision to think better, to speak better to yourself, to stop telling the same tired story about who you are and start writing a new one with your actions. You don't need a new life. You need a new mindset, a mindset that doesn't fold under pressure, a mindset that doesn't quit when it gets uncomfortable, a mindset that stays focused when distractions get loud. Because once you master your mind, everything else starts to follow. Your habits align, your confidence grows, your direction sharpens, and your life finally starts reflecting the power that's been inside you all along. So if this message helped you, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe.